Welcome back to the final episode of the Summer Grill series here on Chuds BBQ, everybody. My name is Bradley Robinson, and today I've got a beautiful set of filet mignons that I'm going to throw on the grill along with some grilled zucchini, and it is going to be fantastic. Coming up, filet mignon, aka beef tenderloin steaks, are always held in real high regard because they are so damn tender. But a lot of beef aficionados claim to not like them as much because they're very lean and therefore not nearly as flavorful as something like a strip or a ribeye. But whenever I think about a super fancy steak dinner, it's always a filet on that plate. The texture is hard to beat, and I think they're quite delicious, especially if you hit them with a nice garlic, thyme, butter on top. It's hard to beat. So that being said, today we're going to throw some filet mignons on the grill, and it is going to be delicious. These are some beautiful steaks. Woohoo! How you doing? And these are some beautiful prime fillets. Definitely a cut worth splurging on the higher quality stuff for, because yeah, we're just gonna get a little more intramuscular fat. And one thing you see pretty often is to tie them, and that's because they're very tender, they tend to flap around. If you want a really nice presentation, then tying them up is a great option. So I'm gonna do that to one of these. Yoink. And again, that's not really a necessary step. We'll grill this one up without it, just to prove a point. It just helps hold its shape, looks nice, get some really nice even slices out of there. But other than that, all there's left to do is to season these up. And as always on a beautiful steak like this, we're just gonna go salt and pepper. Nice even coat all the way around. And please guys, do not forget the sides. It's pretty convenient because you can just pick it up and clean up your table. I know some people are different about seasoning their steak. Some people like to do it in the beginning. Some people like to do a dry brine. I'm a big fan of that. And then a lot of Europeans say to season it at the end. So let me know in the comments down below. When did you salt your steak? Today we're gonna go about 15 minutes before we throw them on. And we're gonna go on with some black pepper as well. I like a lot of black pepper, you do you. Put a little on the board for the sides here in a minute. And that's it, just salt and pepper today. Usually I would add garlic to some steaks, but today we're gonna be basting in some garlic butter. So whenever doing that, don't need to put garlic in the rub. Let these sit while we get our grill fired up. While we wait for our charcoal to come up to temp, let's go ahead and get our zucchini ready. Grilled zucchini is a super easy side dish anytime you got the grill fired up. First things first, we're just gonna take these ends off and we're just gonna slice them up as thick or as thin as you like. Got some yellow squash as well. And you could do this in rounds, you could do this lengthwise. It's all good. Lengthwise is a little bit easier because there's less pieces to flip over. But as long as you make them all roughly the same size, they'll all cook up evenly. Looking good to me. And for some extra flavor, we're gonna go in with a little bit of a vinaigrette of sorts. Starting out with a couple cloves of crushed garlic, some freshly squeezed lemon juice, and some olive oil. I'd say maybe about a 3-to-1 acid to olive oil. Throw a pinch of black pepper in there for good measure, and we'll just go ahead and mix that up. Very simple. You can do whatever you like. You can use some store-bought marinades. A lot of salad dressings work really well for this. From here, we're gonna go ahead and season our zucchini with a little bit of salt and pepper, and then we'll go ahead and brush on our marinade. The brightness and the richness, plus that little bit of garlic floating around in there, is really gonna add some lovely flavors, as well as help with the browning process once these hit the grill. This is also a great time to go on with anything else you wanna add. I'm gonna throw a little oregano on top. Some red chili flakes would be nice as well, but yeah, you can really do whatever you want. Now that our coals are all burnt down, we got this fire looking real nice, we're gonna go ahead and throw on our steaks. Oh, that sizzle. Beautiful. And because filet mignons are a pretty thick, tall steak, we're gonna get a really good crust on these. And then you've got a few options to cook them all the way through. You could easily just pull them off, put them over here, shut the lid, let them carry over. You could do the reverse here where you smoke them on this side, then sear them off. But because filet mignons are a pretty lean cut, we're gonna go classic and we're gonna give it the old butter base. So once we get a really nice charcoal, smoky sear on these steaks, we're gonna pop them in a pan, drop in some butter, some garlic, some thyme, and we're gonna baste them until they are fully cooked through. Ooh, looking good. Come on. And now that we've got a beautiful sear on both sides, I'm gonna put these off to the side while we get our pan nicely preheated. Now that our pan is nice and hot, let's go ahead and reinforce that sear a little bit. Ooh, don't mind if I do. And these are still about 80 degrees internal, so we have got a ways to go. This pan I'm using is a carbon steel pan. I love these. They're a lot like cast iron, meaning you have to keep them well seasoned, and after a while they become non-stick. But they're about half the weight of cast iron, which is real nice. And now we're gonna throw in some butter. Big old knob of Irish butter, higher fat content, lovely flavor on there. It's also gonna help these things brown up, and we're gonna start basting in just a moment. We're also gonna go in with some thyme sprigs and of course, some garlic cloves as well. Very classic way of cooking a steak. Oh, that sizzle, love to see it. Once all this butter melts down, all that thyme and garlic is gonna infuse into the butter, and it's just gonna start smelling real good around here. And you know the drill from here, folks. Just start basting that beautiful butter all over these delicious steaks. It's gonna help raise the temperature, add some wonderful flavor, complete that caramelization, and truly is a fantastic way to cook a steak. I mean, what doesn't look delicious about that? Once these hit an internal temperature of around 120, 125, I'm gonna pull these off, let them carry over a little bit, and they should be good to slice in. The steaks are pulled off, they are resting, so let's go ahead and grill off these zucchinis. This is a pretty ripping hot fire, so we gotta move quick. We're basically just trying to go for some char marks, soften these up a little bit. Really not much to it. Doesn't take long, maybe 3 minutes or so aside. Got some nice color on there, we'll flip these over. Oh yeah, I love grilled zucchini. Super easy. Although because they're all greased up, it is a little hard to handle them. But what can you do? One of those veggie baskets or a fish basket would come in handy, I bet. And how much char you want on these is completely up to you. You know, even just getting softened up to this nice light blonde color with that charcoal flavor, you know it's gonna be tasty. It's also never a bad idea to go on and reapply some of this vinaigrette. And the reason I like to make my own as opposed to using Italian dressing or something like that is because I know there's not much sugar in here, so it's not gonna burn too badly. Also, you can really get some nice olive oil, some fresh lemon juice, wonderful summer flavors. And of course, we're not gonna let these steaks go without a little extra garlicky, thymy brown butter on top. Am I right, folks? Come on. Also, these little fried garlic nuggets, whew, so good. But without further ado, let's see how these steaks came out. And as you can see, the one that we didn't tie up kind of splayed apart a little bit. This nugget got a little bit crispy where this one's a little more uniform. Again, not a big deal, but it's kind of nice. First things first, we're gonna remove that string. Pitmaster's dental floss right here. So I pulled these steaks off right around 120, but due to the intensity of that flame we were cooking on, these things carried over right about to 140. So should have a nice medium rare to medium going on here. Feeling nice and tender. Oh yeah, looking real good. That's what it's all about, folks. Beautiful. See how this one came out. Hard to beat a good filet, folks. Hope this light is doing it justice, but we got a beautiful edge to edge medium rare going on. Smells so good. That garlic and thyme and butter, beefy. Then we got that citrusy lemon vibe going from the veg sitting right next to me here, which also came out looking fantastic. Ow, that's hot. But that's what life is all about, folks. Good steak on a summer night. Super beefy, super tender, buttery, perfectly salted. Ooh, that thyme comes through right on the end. Very nice. Can't go wrong with that. If you guys aren't eating fillets because you think they don't have any flavor, come on. So tender. So good. And this stuff is some of my favorite summer snackage right here. I could eat a lot of that. So good. Tangy, velvety, just that wonderful olive oil flavor. It's a vegetable, so I don't feel too bad about eating all of it. Put that in a little bit of that steak butter. I just love a good filet, man. It's tender. I feel like a king. So good. If there was ever a steak for that classic French style of steak cooking where you're doing the whole butter based with the rich butter and the garlic and the thyme, this is the steak for it. But because we seared it over the coals first, it's got a nice smoky charcoal vibe to it, as well as that really hard pan sear. I mean, it's really the best of both worlds. I'm gonna miss these summer grilling episodes. Tell you what, not gonna miss this heat though. It's incredibly hot right now. And also, that was a super quick cook, which I'm always a fan of. I gotta admit though, I'm too one of those guys that doesn't really reach for the filet all that much. I'd rather go for a ribeye or a picanha or a hanger steak or something, but every time I'm pleasantly surprised. Let's do the official taste test. All right, y'all, and that is it. That is how to do a classic garlic thyme butter basted steak with a beautiful filet mignon. I highly recommend giving this a try if you haven't before, especially if you haven't tried it with the addition of that nice charcoal sear to get that smoky flavor. It is super fantastic. But also, doing a pan-seared steak inside is gonna smoke out your house, so you might as well do it on the charcoal grill anyway. But if you do give this recipe a try for yourself, be sure to hit me up on Instagram at Chuds BBQ. I love to see what y'all are cooking. Let me know in the comments down below what you want to see me cook next. And this is the last episode of the Summer Grill series because Labor Day was yesterday. So I may not see you on a Thursday for a little bit, but then again, I very well may do a football series. So let me know in the comments below if you think I should do that. Big shout out to all the Patreon members. Thank you for supporting Team Chud and allowing me to keep making videos. And until the next time I see you, please go cook something outside. Peace.